What is going on, guys? How y'all doing all tonight? This is the Club with the Man 1993, and we are here live for one of probably two live streams I'm gonna do tonight. We're gonna do this one, and then of course we're also going to do another one regarding some news that broke earlier today while I was at work that I am willing to talk about, and I actually would like to go live and talk about it. So we'll do that after my Raw review. But we are here live to talk about last night's edition of Raw, March 1st, 2021 edition of Monday Night Raw. Took place once again at the WWE ThunderDome. Hopefully, I don't know how long I'm going to be saying that. Who knows? Well, with baseball season starting, next month, I'm pretty sure Tropicana Field is going to need the ThunderDome. So, since some places are allowing 15% capacity, and traveling and quarantine restrictions are starting to be lifted, maybe we could get back to seeing some partial capacity episodes of Raw or something. Maybe we could be seeing the last of the ThunderDome episodes. I don't know what's happening. All I can say is that with everything that's going on for the past year, because I can't believe it's coming up on a year since the whole pandemic began, starting to see some things improving. Seeing some good signs. Seeing the light at the end of that tunnel. So as I keep saying, guys, hang in there. We're getting there. But anyways, we're going to talk about last night's episode of Raw. Overall, not a fan. Although, I will say, this is the first Raw in a while. Despite the fact it was not that good, I didn't like this show. Although there was a couple things I did like. This was the first Raw in a while that I can safely say I didn't fall asleep. I did not fall asleep while watching this episode. Part of it may have been because I was doing my baseball players. Part of it is because it actually had something that, even though I came to a point where I'm like, okay, enough of this, just get this right and let's move on. And they did get it right at the end of the night. But there was still something I like about this show. I'm going to be doing some ranting. As, I'm going to nitpick about the end result. Because it was great. But as some of us may have said, once we've gotten to this situation with the WWE Championship, it's still odd. But we'll talk about it. Like last week's episode of Raw, I've decided that since Raw is just not watchable right now and it's not consistent, my best way to review Raw right now is just to skim through the stuff really fast that I didn't give a crap about, and then leave the stuff that I do want to talk about that actually was worth talking about more towards the end. So that's the format I'm going to continue to do for the time being. And of course, before everybody said I checked a live chat, I know this has to change yet again. But of course, I kept it this way because it didn't change until the end of the show. But I'll change it again for the third time within a month. There's gonna be a new WWE champion. But we'll talk about it. Live chat. Who we got here? We've got JR. What's up, JR? Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 37. We'll talk about that briefly also in that storyline. But let's just talk about the stuff real quick that I did not care about. The stuff with the women. They had Nia Jax squash Naomi. Remember the whole thing of hashtag give Naomi a chance? Yeah, now Nia Jax, Nia Jax, is squashing Naomi. Although that finishing move that she did with that gigantic, choke slam was pretty cool. I'll give her that, but it's still Nia Jax. Does anyone like Nia Jax? Nia Jax just makes us cringe more and more. We have that one right there. Let me see here. We had a match with Damian Priest and Elias. I mean, yes, Damian Priest won. My thing though was, why did it take Damian Priest 2 commercial breaks to beat Elias. I thought that was strange. I thought that Elias should be someone that Damian Priest made quick work of. Just saying. But obviously, with after what happened, they're still leading to a match for Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. Yeah, Bad Bunny is getting a match against a now former WWE champion at WrestleMania. I mean, at least it's not going to be for the title now, but, you know, like, why are we giving a WrestleMania spot, and why are we having Damian Priest's first run on the main roster, having him paired up with a celebrity? Like, why? I don't like how they give celebrities too big of a spotlight. I don't. I'm sorry. Let me see here. Charlotte Flair apparently said that she didn't want the women's stuff. I just literally didn't care about at all in the show. I mean, apparently wasn't made known until here that apparently Asuka lost a tooth because Shayna Baszler knocked it out of her mouth, which was kind of a sick looking shot. But now that, of course, they've had to change the whole plan for WrestleMania 37 for the Raw Women's Champions. You know, right now, it shouldn't be Asuka still sitting here on this graphic. It should be Lacey Evans, Miss I got my blonde hair, I got my blue eyes, I got my big tits, big lips, or Rick lips, or whatever you want to call them. Because she, for real, is pregnant. So, yeah, bad timing, of course, but, you know. So they have to change this plan up. So they have Charlotte come out and cut this promo where she basically claims, oh, when I came back, I didn't care about the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka's busted her ass for that, blah, blah, blah. But now I want the Raw Women's Championship, basically. So it's just like, so what made you change your mind? Like that you're now angry with Asuka? I don't know. But it's just a dumb way to get Charlotte Flair again in the top picture. Like, honest to God, we're doing video vignettes for Rhea Ripley. Why can't we do something fresh and do Rhea Ripley and Asuka at WrestleMania? Like, I have my card predictions laid out. That's my predicted match for WrestleMania. I mean, if Asuka didn't beat Charlotte last fall, I would say, you know, you could do Asuka and Charlotte at WrestleMania and have Asuka, you know, beat Charlotte once and for all. But we've already seen, even though it wasn't completely clean because Charlotte was injured thanks to Nia Jax that night, why not Asuka and Rhea Ripley for something different? I would like that match. I mean, if they want to do Rhea and Charlotte, if they did Rhea and Charlotte again, I'd forgive it. But to me, again, it's just still not fair for Asuka, because once again she's getting ripped off being in the main scene for the women's title, like she got ripped off for WrestleMania 35. So, but you know, it's just like, at this point, I just don't care about seeing Charlotte and Asuka again. And seeing Charlotte get another women's title opportunity, especially if they're trying to book her as this good girl babyface and whatnot. Like I said, I don't buy into it because that's not what Charlotte Flair's character is meant to be. I'll even say this 50 million more times. Charlotte even herself said in an interview, her character was not meant to be a babyface. So, you know. And then she took on Shayna Baszler, and she beat Shayna Baszler. How many more pins is Shayna Baszler going to take? How much more is Shayna Baszler going to be protecting Nia Jax? I hope... See, here's the only person that I, right now, will be okay with pinning Shayna Baszler, and that's one person she takes on tomorrow, Dakota Kai. You want to know why? Because there's history there. Even though they're both heels, Dakota Kai is a completely different person than she was when her and Shayna first crossed paths. Like, seeing Dakota, which I'm hoping that happens tomorrow. I want to see Dakota pin Shayna Baszler. That's great storytelling. Shayna just taking these pins for the hell of it and protecting Nia Jax is just... it's killing her. I mean, if she's not already, you know, buried deep, she's... I don't even know what to say Shayna is now. Like, this team with her and Nia, which apparently was the only thing that's kept her around because Vince apparently wanted to get rid of her after Paul Heyman got let go. So now she basically gets punished because Vince didn't see anything in her after you had her dominate the women's elimination chamber. Keep in mind, one of the worst elimination chamber matches of all time because the chamber was just so not necessary for that. You know, you have her being Nia Jax's stooge. Still don't get that. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So Charlotte did that. Matt Riddle and the Lucha House Party defeated Retribution in a very quick match. And then Ali flipped out, and then he said, let me show you how it's done. So he challenges Matt Riddle to a match one-on-one, and thanks to distraction from Retribution, Ali pins Riddle. So I guess we're going to be getting a title shot, as I predicted in my Fastlane card predictions. Matt Riddle and, I'm sorry, not Mustafa Ali, which could be a good match, but just like, okay, why didn't we just do the match instead of having this dumb tag match with Lucha House Party and Retribution? Like, it was kind of a waste. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. What do I know? But that's stuff that I really didn't care about. That I'm like, okay, talk about this. It's whatever. Couple things that happened that I did, like, when I actually, like, talk more in depth about. I mean, I kind of did with some of the stuff already, but I still didn't like. First off, they had this thing with Randy Orton and Kayla Braxton. This interview where Randy's he's again just doing the same thing we've been getting for months. He's blaming The Fiend and Alexa Bliss for his recent failures. And then we have Alexa Bliss appear on the screen, and she has a Jack in the Box, plays it, and then some clone of Randy Orton comes out, and she basically says that he will come face to face with everything he has done, basically. So, and he just gets this awkward laugh, and Randy Orton's like, teasing another puke thing. Hang on one second, I gotta go to the bathroom. 1 second. Okay, yeah, that was not necessary. Guys, I am sorry. I literally, you know, when you gotta go, you gotta go. It just came up on me really fast, and it was just one of those things where it's like I couldn't hold anymore, so I had to run out. So I need to literally clean up something like that, get a like a random break like that. I need to make a we'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Thing that I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't hold it anymore. Anyways, so getting back to this, we're talking about Randy Orton and the stuff with Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. Again, like they do this thing with some Randy Orton clone where Randy basically is just being told by himself, you're going to face, you're going to get revenge for, what all he's done. And again, as I keep saying, like this whole storyline with The Fiend and Randy Orton, it was unique at first, at the beginning, and especially the fact that, even though these two have not had the best matches in the past, they have history. And that's what what kind of makes this at least somewhat compelling. But again, they want to get this to WrestleMania. Because it's looking like we're getting a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania between Randy Orton and The Fiend. But again, the problem is they have no long-term idea of how to keep this story compelling to get there. Having weeks of Alexa Bliss coming out and laughing, doing something goofy, basically saying he's coming back, and he doesn't come back. And then he said he had the opportunity to burn Alexa Bliss. He didn't. But now he's saying he wants to burn Alexa Bliss. Then, every week he basically keeps saying, oh, but The Fiend's not coming back. It's just like, we're going in so many circles here, and just doing them hokey stuff like this that has like nothing at all. It's not furthering the storyline, not catching our eyes. It's just, it's cool stuff, but again, it's not doing anything right now for any of us, as I continue to say. So, enough with, having Randy Orton teasing the throw up every single week. Enough of, hearing The Fiend's coming back and he's not. Enough of Alexa Bliss just laughing for no reason. It's not leading to anything. Again, it's like, do something else. Further the storyline. Stop dragging your feet, having us tread water with this one. Just get to it. Because it's at the point now where it's like, we want to see this just for us to end and move on to something new. It's not just like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what this is. I can't wait to see what the new Fiend's going to look like. It's just like, it's at a point I was like, we don't care. We just want to see, we just want to see what the Fiend come back at this point, because it's just dragged on for so freaking long. But yeah, that one, I just drives me nuts. Just like this. So let's step back a little bit further now. What the heck is this storyline with Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon? Now, here's the thing first off here. First question is, who the heck is supposed to be the heel in this feud? Seriously, who is the heel? I mean, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, there's still no clear heel. Because, there's sometimes where Alexa Bliss, and The Fiend are kind of like heels. Times they feel like the faces. I mean, obviously, Randy Orton, for crying out loud, got the best of The Fiend and burned him at TLC. So you would think that The Fiend is supposed to be the babyface here. But yet Alexa Bliss is still being the heel when she faces with Asuka. It's like, again, I can't figure it out. I can't figure out who's the face and the heel. But at least, even though that story is dragging, they have history, so at least some of it makes sense. This stuff with Braun Strowman and Shane clearly does not make sense. Braun Strowman is coming out here complaining that management is holding him back. And then Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon, which, again, hold the phone, wait a minute, let's ask the $1 million question here. What the heck is Shane McMahon doing here? Like, what is Shane's job? Again, remember, a year and a half ago, Shane McMahon lost a ladder match to Kevin Owens and got fired. So, how did he get his job back? What did he do? Like, what is his role now? And if so, why are both him and Adam Pearce running Raw and Adam Pearce is running SmackDown by himself? If they're both back, why not make one commissioner of Raw and one commissioner of SmackDown? Like, why do we have to have... it's like when Shane and Stephanie were both running Raw, and then they're trying to decide who's going to run SmackDown. But at the time, of course, nobody ran SmackDown because SmackDown didn't even matter. It was just a recap show. It was before the brand split came back. So that does not make sense. And then Shane comes out and starts cutting some promo about conflict resolution and communication. And, first off, Shane spoke a little bit of truth. How Braun Strowman has not really capitalized on his opportunities. That's somewhat true, but somewhat not true. He was Universal Champion, and it wasn't a horrible run. Was it great? No, I wouldn't say it was horrible. The feud with him and Bray Wyatt, I didn't completely hate. There was times I liked it, times I didn't like it, but, it was a mixed bag. It was a complete flop. If you would be saying he's been stuck to just, tag teaming with a kid and nothing else on top of that and just failing at all of his main event opportunities, okay, you got something there. But he succeeded in more than just... It seems like to me this thing with Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman, even though, once again, they're not emphasizing who's a heel or not, because Braun Strowman is coming across as a crybaby babyface because they think, oh, Braun Strowman go out there and just wreck and destruct to make us like him. And it's the kiss-up act, as I used to say a couple years ago. Braun Strowman at this point just going out there wrecking havoc is doing nothing for him. It's not doing anything for anybody else. It's just there. But it's not leading to anything at all whatsoever like it was in 2017. So, he has a reason to be booed. Shane McMahon is just, one, again, how is he getting his job back? And two, this whole conflict and resolution thing with him, because they had this tag match then. Braun Strowman and Adam Pearce teamed up against the Hurt Business as Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin for the Raw tag titles, and Strowman dominated the whole match, and then right when Strowman was about to pin whichever member of the Hurt Business it was, Shane's telling him to tag in Adam Pearce. Pearce gets in and gets rolled up and gets pinned and they lose. So, who the heck's the face? Who the heck's the heel? And what's this doing for either one of them? Because it really is not clicking with me at all. It isn't. It's not. I don't get this feud. It's doing nothing for me. It's doing nothing for Shane. It's doing nothing for Strowman. It's just even if Braun wins this, he's got nothing coming out of it. He's really got nothing coming out of it. I've said this for a while. They were going back and forth with it. They've been going back and forth with it since Roman Reigns came back, I would say. That's, probably after the Swamp fight. Braun Strowman, to me, just needs to go back to being a full-fledged heel again. The whole reset thing on him, and, if they want to make him the heel in this feud, fine. But just establish it. Because trying to make Strowman as a babyface, but being this, crybaby who cries every time he doesn't get a Universal title shot, or a main event title shot, when, in reality, we're looking at him thinking, as fans, it's well, what have you done to deserve it, You've already lost your title shots last year, well, except for the one with Goldberg, and then he retained throughout the summer, but, it's why should we take him seriously? So, I don't get what this whole thing with him and Shane's going to do, and have Braun Strowman have some moments of destruction, but again, what's it going to do? Again, he's the newest Big Show. Again, I hate to say it, but he's being, I was getting to before, it's like they're trying to repeat the storyline from 2012 between Big Show and Cody Rhodes, where Big Show's not really had a true WrestleMania moment. Where, Braun Strowman, it's not true, because Braun Strowman, again, last year beat Goldberg for the Universal Championship, so that's not working, but it feels like that's what they're trying to do with this. But it's doing nothing in return. So, again, I'm not a fan of all of this feud, and I'm not even interested in this match between Braun and Shane that they're going to do at WrestleMania. And again, it just makes no sense, because once again, why is Shane McMahon here when he got fired? And there's no story as to how he got brought back. He's a McMahon, but still, I hate that excuse. He's a McMahon. No. But yeah. So that's that. And then we have but those are the things there's two things on the show I actually liked. Well, even though one of them is odd. So of course, first we got to talk about the match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And again, kind of like, spoiling a little bit, we're going to say about the other thing too. It really was not necessary, I feel, at this point. Well, even though it was worth it because someone did benefit from it, we'll get to them in a second. But I still kind of feel they really should have kept this match between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus for WrestleMania, with the title on the line. This is a great match. Well, before the match started, Drew came out to open up the show, obviously, addressing, what happened. So this is the first time we've seen him since Miz cashed in and won the title off him at Elimination Chamber. And then Miz came out trying to basically, because Miz obviously had his match with Bobby Lashley for the WWE title tonight, was trying to, get underneath the skin of Drew McIntyre to basically help McIntyre get involved. That way a DQ happens and Miz can retain his championship. But, Drew wasn't having that. Obviously, the story being told here, even though I predicted it would happen, but Drew getting involved and causing a DQ would have been absolutely stupid. It would have been the wrong thing to do. Because if Miz is going to get in trouble for screwing up the title match again, because, remember, they threatened to strip him of the championship if he didn't show up for the main event, because he already bailed twice. Like, how would have, McIntyre getting involved, have, helped? It actually, honestly, probably would have made McIntyre look bad. But anyways, that happened, and then Sheamus came out, and then they started brawling. They had the match, like I said, excellent. Great chemistry, physical. Again, this would have been an excellent WWE title match for WrestleMania. And it's a shame, again, like these guys, you can tell from the chemistry, from the storytelling, even though the breakup was just kind of flubbed, basically, with the story they told. Like I said, it felt like the feud culminated here, because it's like, okay, even though Sheamus has already pinned McIntyre once, with the match to decide for the advantage in the chamber, AJ Styles took out Sheamus in the chamber, and now here, so it's technically 1-1. So I don't know if we will get one more match, but it's just like, I kind of was wondering, why would we even need to have another match? Like, why do it? But it was still a very good match. Like I said, definitely should have been saved for WrestleMania, but it was not. But then, of course, the main story from this show. Bobby Lashley is going to be having a match with The Miz for the WWE Championship, because the Hurt Business basically made a deal with The Miz, because obviously they were not happy how John Morrison cost it, which, again, very basic, but it works. The reason why they made this deal with The Miz was because they weren't happy that John Morrison took the pin from Matt Riddle in the triple threat match for Lashley to lose his United States Championship. So now they're having they made a deal with The Miz. Well, if we help you dethrone Drew McIntyre, then you will get a match against The Miz, first in line for the WWE Championship. Miz, of course, being the coward he is, does not want to face Bobby Lashley. He's scared because he knows that Lashley is going to take the title off of him. So basically, they did this last week where they said, you have by this time to make your decision. So, obviously, the match is supposed to take place at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock comes, Lashley's out in the ring ready. Miz chickens out, but claims he has cramps. 10 o'clock comes, Miz comes out, and then Lashley comes out. As soon as the bell rings, The Miz rolls out of the ring, grabs the title, and just runs for it. Takes a count-out victory, claims, I defended my championship. Well, you still, just half-assed it. So then, Shane McMahon tells The Miz he has to have the match, the actual match, or else you're going to be stripped of the WWE Championship, and they'll give it to Bobby Lashley. Which the Miz was like, make excuses, blah, blah, blah. So the main event ended up being a lumberjack match. And it was pretty much just a squash. And Bobby Lashley won. Culminating a 17-year journey, Bobby Lashley is now WWE Champion. And here's the thing. I'm happy for Bobby, but I feel like the booking came at a very odd time. Because here's the problem. First, you have The Miz, who is clearly just a transitional champion. That just, with how bad his booking has been, and just how much of a joke this title reign was, again, just another Money in the Bank briefcase holder wasted. Well, technically two, because, he took the belt off, he took the briefcase off Otis, and now, where's Otis now? The Alpha Academy, but he's a heel now, which makes no sense to me still. So that's wasted there. Now, second off, I've always wanted to see Bobby Lashley as world champ. And I'm glad he finally got it. Again, look at what this guy has gone through since he came back to WWE in 2018. He came back to smiling all, hey guys, Sammy, it's good to see you again, buddy. To, him turning heel because he was booked awfully as a babyface. Remember this also, too, guys. Remember this. He has a clean victory over Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2018. But that did not matter. Because like 2 weeks later, he had to face Roman Reigns for a Universal Championship shot at SummerSlam, and he lost. Completely wiping out that victory like it meant nothing. Which was still stupid. SummerSlam 2018's main event should have been Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, and not Brock Lesnar versus Roman freaking Reigns for the zillionth time. Dear Lord. Ugh. Could you imagine if that feud was not wasted so much in 2018? Like a Roman Reigns now versus Brock Lesnar? Killer. Even though, again, their match at WrestleMania 31, I still would say was excellent. But then he turns heel. And he was paired up with Lio Rush. And at first, I didn't like what they were doing with Lashley. Because all they did was he has these very slow matches, showing off his physique, the ass pose. I forgot about that. Remember that? The ass pose? That bad booking. Then Lio Rush got in trouble, so they split them up randomly. He was quietly IC champion briefly. And then he had a really good match at Extreme Rules 2019 with Braun Strowman. That last man standing match. That was, at the time, I thought was Lashley's best match since coming back. But then he goes away with an injury for a few months. And he came back. And then he went from, Sammy, it's good to see you again, buddy, to, if I should, change up Elias's song, oh, Bobby Lashley sucks. Oh, Bobby Lashley sucks. Remember when they feuded right after Lashley turned heel? They feuded, they had that stupid ladder match where you had to climb a ladder just to get to the guitar. As I say, that actually was, that feud then with Lana and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley went from, Sammy, it's good to see you again, buddy, to, oh, Bobby Lashley sucks. Lana's. Never mind, I'm not going to go that far, because that was horrible as well. But then he finally got out of the hole when MVP came back. And the two of them started up the Hurt Business. And, Bobby Lashley did get a WWE title opportunity last summer at Backlash against McIntyre. And I know a lot of people were completely cool and kind of hoping that Lashley would win. I would have been fine with it, but I still thought it was too soon for Drew McIntyre's sake. But they booked it basically how I thought it would. Basically showing that, okay, Lashley's still getting out of that hole with Lana, and this is basically to put the nail on the coffin with that, which is what they did. And then they had, Lashley get, rebuilt with the Hurt Business, had a decent run with the U.S. title, and continued to get more and more dominating. And of course had to have a lot of people eliminate him from the Royal Rumble match. So they built him back up pretty good. Here's the thing, though. I don't know why they had to have this thing where basically, I mean, I guess they wanted to do something different, not just have, since obviously no one was going to take The Miz seriously as champion right now. Again, as I keep saying, this was 2016 to 2018 Miz, then yes, we would. But this Miz, not at all. So, adding Lashley to the mix was an attempt to try to, not have it so obvious, okay, Miz is going to win the title, but McIntyre's going to win it back. Because I'm feeling like the long-term direction for this is for Drew McIntyre to win the title back at WrestleMania 37, since there's going to be an actual crowd there. To kind of give McIntyre that WrestleMania moment he didn't get to have in front of a crowd last year. But the problem is Bobby Lashley the right guy to put him over? Because, let's be honest here. Bobby Lashley, in this little feud with The Miz, even though he's still supposed to be a heel, was technically the babyface. Bobby Lashley had a 17-year journey to get to win the WWE title. He had, maybe one or two chances before he had left back in 2007, I think it was. And then, of course, he wrestled, for the title at Backlash last summer. So it was yes, it took Drew McIntyre a while, but it only took him 10 years. Lashley took him freaking 17 years to finally win the world title in WWE. So, why are you using a guy who has a story that could easily make him a babyface? Again, people are happy. People are loving the fact that Lashley is world champion. I am loving the fact he's world champion. So, with that momentum right now, how on earth are you going to have Bobby Lashley be the heel to put over The Miz? I mean, not The Miz. At this point, it's probably going to be Lashley, Miz, and McIntyre at Fastlane. And I'm thinking, I would love to see Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. But my thing is also, where would that put Drew? I love Drew. Yes, I'll admit his options as world champ were starting to run out. But if you're going to make up for the big moment he should have had in front of an audience from last year, I feel with Lashley having the title now, you might want to save Lashley and Lesnar maybe till SummerSlam or something. Or even next year's WrestleMania. One of the two. Because then again, like I said, who would McIntyre work if he's not fighting for the title? Again, I think the long-term idea is for this year, the right thing to do, to be fair, is give McIntyre that moment in front of the fans he didn't get last year. So that's why I think the plan is for Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. Like I said, it's right now, would you want to boo Bobby Lashley? I feel you're going to get a very mixed reaction from the fans because both these guys have similar compelling stories. So why should you hate one and love the other? You know what I mean? So, again, I love the fact that Lashley's champion. I'm glad they got off The Miz. But, again, it's just a very weird spot. He's still supposed to be a heel, but yet you're just may not be a babyface. Yeah, the idea probably down the line is for him to put over Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. But then again, Lashley's had a much longer journey than McIntyre. So weird spot, but like I said, I love the fact that Lashley is a world champion, and I definitely am happy for him. Definitely congratulations to him. But yeah, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this Raw review. Again, I'm sorry about that bathroom break in between. It just really hit me again. As soon as this broadcast ends, before I do my other stream, I'm going to make please stay tuned, say in case that happens again, because I hated just setting my laptop down, you guys staring at absolutely nothing. Plus, too, if I ever do an intermission or a special live stream, I need to. So I'm doing that as soon as I get off, because I'm going to go live one more time in an hour, because I want to talk about the news that broke today about NXT. So we'll talk about that in about an hour. But that was Raw. Again, I mean, even though it got a little annoying, I liked the end result for the stuff with Miz and Lashley, with Lashley winning the championship. I love the match with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, but everything else, like, again, the stuff with Orton, The Fiend, and Alexa, again, it's just so freaking overdone. Get somewhere with that. I do not like this feud with Shane and Braun. It makes no sense. And stuff with the women was meh. And then Riddle, Ali, whatever. So I gave the show a C minus. A C minus. That's my grade for Raw this week. Live chat, we got JR saying, is it going to be Shane McMahon versus Strowman at WrestleMania? That's what it's going to lead to. That's what I'm thinking so. Yep, I know that Paul White's in AEW. Elite Squad, what's up? Gave the show a C+. Lashley winning the title and Sheamus versus McIntyre were both awesome, which is the only two best things part of the show. And Lashley's going to end up losing the title back to McIntyre. Do McIntyre Lashley because they're going to end up making him lose to Fastlane. I think what's going to happen is they're going to have Lashley have a triple threat where Lashley's obviously going to pin Miz at Fastlane, and then we'll get Lashley and McIntyre at WrestleMania. Even if it just leads to McIntyre win the title just to lose it back to Lashley afterwards, which honestly I kind of hope happens. But like I said, Drew McIntyre deserves that moment in front of the fans that he didn't get last year. But as far as his time as WWE champion, I feel like he has kind of run his options. Which, I honestly wouldn't be opposed to McIntyre moving to SmackDown next draft. But, we'll see. But yeah, thank you, Elite Squad, and JR for joining me live. Again, I'm sorry again about that random, run out for that bathroom break. Like I said, you gotta go. So I'm going to make sure to get that graphic in there for the we'll be right back, or stay tuned, basically. So I'll get that taken care of, and I'm going to go live one more time tonight and talk about some breaking news involving NXT and get your thoughts on that as well. So guys, once again, what were your thoughts on this episode of Raw? Gave it a C minus. What are your thoughts on Bobby Lashley? What do you think the WWE title plans are moving forward for WrestleMania? Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content. Come to my channel and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBoy93. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys in a bit for another special live stream. I'm checking out. Have a great night. Peace out, everybody.